Hey, my name is Nigel. I'm an editor and director, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how I edited. Hi, welcome to How I Edited/Directed. In this series, I tell you stories about how I edited or directed whatever project I worked on. In my first semester of school, I had a class called Film Noir, and that's where I met my dear friend Houston Cicelli. We would chat and talk for an hour right before class because we like to be there early. He would tell me about all the stuff that he wanted to create, and I said I wanted to be part of it, so we shook hands and we were friends from there. In the Film and Media Studies department, there's a class called 106 Crew Production. In that class, a bunch of people submit scripts, 12 get chosen to pitch, and then 4 get chosen to be made. Houston was one of the people who submitted a script and pitched his idea, and it was one of the films that got made. What intrigued me about Houston's pitch was that he told me that the first 3 pages of the script was the intro of the movie, so basically the first minute. I really wanted to get my hand in experimental editing, so this was definitely the project to do it. Now in pre-production, I didn't have much to do because I wasn't the director. Mainly, me and Houston talked about ideas and other things. The vibe of the film felt a lot like my favorite movie of all time, Old Boy, so I hosted a movie night with Houston, our DP, and my assistant editor, and then we talked about different ideas about certain scenes. There's a certain scene in the film that I wanted to talk to Houston about a lot, and how we do the villain reveal. Me and Houston talked in his apartment, and I talked to him about how we could use Winter by Vivaldi. We talked about each beat of the song and where it will go, and we were just bursting with excitement, just wanting to get it done. Now in production, I had my friend Vince be my assistant editor, which means he was just DIT, and he organized the project file for me. So what did I do on set? I hugged Ian. I was there for vibes. And then I helped with the bridge scene. Now that day was a really rough day during production. There was about 80 shots that we had to do, and people were losing their minds. Tensions began to grow on set. We were starting to lose the organization. I did something that I highly recommend not doing, which was helping Houston direct this scene. Looking back at it now, I overstepped, but I feel like the production definitely needed a clear voice during all the chaos. That night, the morale was really low after we were finished filming, so I decided to edit the scene. And I showed it to the crew the next day, and everybody's excitement went back up, and we were finishing out the rest of the shoot. Now post-production. So post-production was filled with a lot of ups and downs, but mostly ups. As soon as I was able to get my hands on the footage and go to the editing lab, I'd be in that lab after class, in between classes, at night, in the morning. I was obsessed with editing this film. However, there was one issue during post-production. Our professors were considered the executive producers of these films. There was a lot of things that they pushed on us and a lot of things that they wanted us to fix. One thing that they pushed on all 4 films was to be under 20 minutes. They were really aiming for these 4 films to reach the festivals, and film festivals tend to prefer films under 20 minutes. So unfortunately, we had to cut things. There was a lot of monologues in the film, and I had to cut them down by 80%. We also unfortunately cut a scene, which inevitably became one of the worst decisions for the film. But overall, editing this was exciting. Houston and I would just spend a lot of hours just talking and editing with each other, figuring out the best product we can for this film. There were things that we went and shot to add more to the film, and we ended up picklocking after a month of editing. A month is a long time to edit a short film, but Obscura is just such a huge story and project that we had to figure out how to make it work under 20 minutes. And I believe we had a great product. So after picklocking, we sent it to sound and color. And that was a journey. I'm not going to get into too much of the specifics of sound, but it basically delayed our film. Unfortunately, we didn't finish sound until the day of the premiere. There was a lot of sleepless nights where me and Houston would be in the sound lab until 4 a.m. Just a lot of unfortunate sequences of events. And unfortunately, the sound of the film suffered during the premiere. But other than that, I believe the editing was fire and color looked great. So with that, here's a little sneak peek of Obscura.
I try to keep myself busy. It distracts me, keeps me looking ahead. My father was a writer, and my mother an artist, and they taught me that art was in the details. You give images to elicit emotion. Sometimes they speak back to you. But here, there's something that I'm missing. was something that makes him want to be caught.
Hope you enjoyed that clip. Obscura was something that I really loved working on, and me and Houston want to continue working together on other projects. I do really hope you guys have been enjoying this series of mine. There's a lot of editing tricks that I've been wanting to try out, and I've been able to do it on these videos. So anyway, next video is going to be something I directed. But thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time.